Hello everyone. Today is Tuesday, February 24th, 2026 at precisely 12:30 p.m. in the afternoon. I didn't intend to plan I didn't intend or plan to do the video at exactly 12:30, but it just so happens to be 12:30 exactly. Excuse me, so I just used the bathroom just now right before coming on the video. So thanks to y'all who have supported me while I was on the trip. Um, as I said, the chief reason why I took the trip, when I found out about the opportunity, and I was trying to see, I was hoping that if they had any supporters that would have helped me with that $2.99 deal, and I didn't have the funds because of the jail and court situation and a few other things. Last month they had, I think it was 4 days on sale for like $299 for the rail pass for the train. You know, excuse me, but yeah, but it's all right though. You know, because I was trying to purchase it then at that time, but I didn't have the funds, and I didn't even really have much funds for daily living. But if I would have had my own funds during that time of that sale, then I would have purchased it, on my own. But um so I um yeah, like January 21st was the court date, and it didn't turn out well, and they keep pushing back the court dates, and I think that fake police officer is refusing to show up on purpose. Only one time they told me the reason why he didn't show up. But like for me to already go to court 3 times, I think it was the fourth time. I think it was 4 times. 3 or 4 times, I don't remember. And he never showed up, the officer never showed up to court. And I thought that were certain courts. I mean, I don't know because I'm new to all this, but people have been telling me after 3 times, then they should drop the case. But the fake court judge is saying, no, I'm not dropping the case. But you mean the public defender, the court judge, and the cops and stuff? They don't know the law. I mean, I don't know the law either, but but they don't know the law. I mean, um, or they don't know about people being swatted. Like, if they saw evidence that I did not break into the building and still try to take me to jail anyway. So, I mean, me trying to take a break from all that, excuse me. So, I got my check. I don't remember if it was late that night or the next morning that I got the no, I got it later that evening, and I don't remember if I just had enough money for 1 or 2 hotel nights, and then probably spent it on just food or toiletries or something like that, like I normally do. And so I got the Social Security check on January 30th, and I paid from the Social Security check the $4.99 for the rail pass for the train, and you know I had to. I mean, well, I couldn't do Miami and I couldn't do Memphis, but I wanted to do Nashville, Tennessee, and but I had to cut that out because well, the reason why, like when I was in San Francisco, um I was trying to excuse me, I saw how much I was getting on the AdSense, you know, and the prices, it seemed like they changed. They're not the same every day or every trip or something. So it looks like the prices vary. So it was Valentine's Day or the 14th, and I was trying to get back to New Orleans early because I think it was because of me hearing about these storms and stuff like that or whatever going on. I don't remember exactly what, but I didn't realize that a single trip, like if I would have done from Nashville back to New Orleans or something, I don't even think it was like a direct shot from Nashville to New Orleans. I think I had to transfer somewhere else. So, excuse me, the price, it was like 230 something dollars, you know, for a single like one-way trip, and I might have needed a transfer or something like that. But like I yeah, I kind of don't remember what the situation was, why I had to cancel Nashville, and I canceled Nashville, and I canceled Nashville, and then I just you know, went after San Francisco. I was trying to leave San Francisco on the 14th. I guess realizing that, wow, if I got to be on the streets, I can't sleep anywhere, you know. And so it was taking a toll on my body. I was trying to but they said due to Mardi Gras and stuff that all the trains and everything was sold out. So I had to keep the reservation that I had for February 17th for Glenwood Springs, and I just did that one. Excuse me, and then the 18th, and I'm glad things didn't turn out as bad as I thought it would be. And thankfully, those 2 nights of being in Glenwood Springs, thankfully I didn't have to be on the streets, you know. But and I had to spend every day on the streets in San Francisco except the last night. I think I did yeah, I had enough points for a free night, and someone helped me and I got the deposit back. It was the one with the $50 deposit, and I got gang stalk heavy with that hotel, you know. um so like I spent, I guess, 5 nights, I don't know offhand, but 5 nights on the streets in San Francisco, and then the sixth night, um excuse me, the sixth night in the hotel, and I used the points and got the deposit back and used the funds on, you know, to eat and survive and stuff. So basically, yeah, I started off excuse me, going to Chicago, and I used 3 nights of my own money to go to the hostel because I can't, like, they got hostels here in New Orleans. They got a few of them. But the rule is you have to have an out of state driver's license or identification, or to be have proof that you're traveling from a different city and state, proof that you're not a native or a local there. I mean, in whatever city and state. So that's why I cannot do the hostels here in New Orleans, except they had this one hostel called Marquette Hostel that's uptown off of St. Charles, and I don't remember the name of the street, but I don't know if it's still in service, or I thought I heard that they shut that place down, but it was a place where even locals could go anywhere. I mean, anyone could go, local or, excuse me. So people frown upon locals staying at hostels, or even they frown upon locals staying at hotels and motels, but certain people have to, even if they're not targeted, if they might have to be, if they're homeless, they might have to stay in a hotel or a motel for survival. I've seen people actually living in motels and hotels long term, and I don't know how they're able to provide or support themselves. It ain't my business, but so if they stay in cheap motels or hotels or whatever, and they stay in long term for survival for whatever reason, not for vacationing. So like here in New Orleans, Marquette Hostel was the only hostel where locals were able to stay, and it was like, I don't remember how much it was for a daily rate, but it was like $100 for a week. And I didn't know at the time, but I was gang stalk heavy over there. Um, it was, the gang stalking was really bad over there, and so it's like $100 per week or 400 per month, and there were these raggedy beds that lean to the side and cave in, and they're just not comfortable at all, and they would have like people at the hostel that would steal your food, even if it's labeled. They steal your food, and trying to get you wrongfully kicked out, banned. They had noise campaigns around, and people who were just rude and stuff like that. And one day, one of the workers just lied and said that they didn't have any room, and each time I kept, trying to go there, and they didn't tell me, you're banned, you're trespassed from here. I didn't even do any public videos. I wasn't making videos, like YouTube videos or nothing at the time. I wasn't even doing social media or nothing at that time. But they just wanted me to get the hint that they didn't want me there anymore by just saying that oh, we don't have any space, we don't have any room, or all the rooms are filled, and they kind of found out they were lying, so so that's why I couldn't go there anymore. But it is difficult and more challenging, living with people and dealing with people, so that answers your question on, oh, why doesn't Candy stay at the hostels here in New Orleans? Because I'm a local and a native here. But if I was living in Pensacola, Florida or something, and had a Pensacola, Florida driver's license or identification, and a resident there, then I could come to New Orleans and stay in a hostel for, whatever, one night, 2 nights, or whatever, So that's why you don't see me staying in a hostel. One of the reasons why you don't see me staying in the hostels here in New Orleans. But yeah, so I don't, yeah, so that's one of the reasons, and I can't. It's difficult living with people, period, due to this gang stalking, and also my disability. It's hard living with people, and I'm the most at peace by myself. You know, so I stayed in the hostel for I think it was 3 nights. I stayed in a hostel in Chicago. The first night, the roommate was a perp, but she was a fake nice perp. But she mostly stayed to herself. excuse me, she mostly stayed to herself, and but she was purple with a lot of red, and then you would have thought she seemed like she had a demeanor of a good person, or somebody that was quiet, but um she brought like these books or whatever, these tarot card reading books, and she tried to tell me it was a brand new hobby that she tried to learn to take up, you know. And I'm like, oh no, so she was trying to read up on, like she said like a day or two prior that it was a new hobby that she just learned to take up. And I'm like, oh no, but she was a fake nice perp. But then the second night, um see, the first night, the female, she was Mexican, she was from Mexico. And then the second one was the Asian lady, and the Asian lady was rude and refused conversation. Let me making my nose itch. The Asian lady was rude and refused conversation with me, extremely rude and stuck up or whatever. Um, so I try to keep my distance from her after learning that she didn't want to be nice. And the third night, I was happy to have the room all to myself. And then the fourth night, um, I didn't really get help, and I had to suffer on the streets that night, out in the freezing cold and snow. And I don't even remember if it got down to 12 degrees or something that night, but I saw a white female near the train station struggling and suffering, struggling to survive and suffering. And a few other people, I just felt so bad. And I remember roaming the streets, and it seemed like people were trying to follow me around, trying to traffic me. And then there was some Uber drivers or whatever being weird and moving funny or whatever. So the fourth night, I tried to I thought I would be safe taking the trains or riding the trains, but it was not safe to ride the trains, the local Chicago trains, not the Amtrak or not the regional Metro train, but I'm talking about the local CTA train or whatever. Um, it was unsafe. And that was the first time in person that I've seen homeless people. Like, I've seen a few videos, but this is the first time I've seen in person with them being like drugged out on fentanyl. And I'm like, oh, I can't believe this is like real. Like, whatever drug have people, their bodies twisted up and bent up in all kinds of weird different shapes and poses or whatever. you know it really seems not human, and it makes me wonder if these drugs really do have a spiritual effect on people. Excuse me. And they had people like smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol and just doing whatever the hell they wanted on the train, and invading my personal space and couldn't keep still, and just doing all kinds of wild, crazy stuff that just, I ended up not feeling comfortable. And with me being days of sleep deprived, I kept having like panic attacks and having unwanted, intrusive thoughts and fears that I would fall onto the platform. Fall off the platform and onto the train tracks. Excuse me. So, or with my sleep deprivation, felt afraid of going up and down escalators by myself. Afraid I would fall. But then when people were around, then I would feel more secure. My body would feel weak when I'm sleep deprived, and I'm afraid of walking across bridges while sleep deprived, because of having fear that I will fall off the bridge and fall into the water, or fall onto the highway, or whatever, what bridge or whatever walking bridge. excuse me, being days of sleep deprived, and so, yeah, the third day that I was, yeah, I think I did say that the third night I was at the hospital, I was happy to have the room all to myself, you know, that the dorm room all to myself, the whole night. And yeah, so you know, excuse me, and then I mean, cause like the first day at the the first day, like this is how I thought it was gonna be. Okay, I thought that the train rides, when I took the trains, I thought the train rides would last longer, you know, and I thought I would, be out of the cold and on the trains like more often. And I thought that I would have maybe 1 or 2 days to see a certain city and then get back on the train and ride for 3 or 4 days. It ended up not really being like that, because I didn't know how long or what the distance from this place to that place or whatever. But I heard that if you ride nonstop, I heard road trips are faster than train rides. Excuse me. So I thought this and that train ride or whatever would be longer. So the way I had thought things were gonna be was that if I go to a certain city like Chicago or this place or that place, and I would look up online about what warming centers they have or what homeless shelters they have or excuse me, whatever warming center or homeless shelter or food pantry or this place or that place, and everything sounded easier on the internet than in person than when you got there, you know. Excuse me, or things were not what they said on the internet. So like, um, when I got to Chicago, it was later in the morning, like 11 o'clock, 11 something, 11:12. I think the train might have been 1 hour later than scheduled or something. I don't remember, but I was excited to try Jollibee, and um, but before I was trying to walk across the bridge, but it was very snowing. It was 19 degrees outside, and I had a panic attack, being afraid trying to walk across the bridge, and I think I did a little video on that. But I was just gonna walk across the bridge and go to Jollibee, but instead, I freaked out and had a severe panic attack because of being days of sleep deprived and feeling afraid I was gonna fall off the bridge or fall into the water. So then I went to because there were hardly many people walking, but I guess if they would have had more people, I probably would have felt more secure of, you know, walking across the bridge. And then when I went to try to take one bus, they had a bus driver that local bus driver that was rude or whatever, and there was another bus driver was kind of rude. Then I was able to finally get on the bus and then take a short ride to go to where Jollibee was, and I was excited and happy or whatever. And the prices are very reasonable and affordable. You could get like a whole meal for like $11 or something. I'm glad. Excuse me. I was able to try that ube pie. I mean, the chicken and the gravy was like nothing special at all. But I like the spaghetti, and I really like that ube pie. And I think I had like a drink or a lemon. I like the drink too. But their ube pies and the spaghetti is like the best. And I wanted to try again, but I didn't get the opportunity to try that again. But my favorite. I wanted to get another one, but I only had one ube pie. So I think that morning, um, I don't remember. So wait a minute. The first night, January 30th, was, well, it was in around afternoon. Oh, I know what I did. Excuse me, I forgot what I had for breakfast that morning. I think I had IHOP early that morning for breakfast, and then for lunchtime, I went to the local the subway inside of the Union Passenger Terminal, whatever, here in New Orleans Metro, in New Orleans downtown. I went to the that subway, and I got me like a pizza, because I don't think I ever had Subway pizza before. So I had a pizza and I got some snacks, and then I ate, like, I had some snacks and water and drinks or whatever, and then later on I had some more snacks later on that evening or whatever. And then the next morning, I I think was then I think I used the train dining car breakfast. I no No, I don't remember what I did for breakfast. No, you know what? That was another time later on. I did the dining car breakfast. I think it was after. No, it was some other time. I don't remember when I did the breakfast. Um, no, I think it was one of those mornings. I think I did the breakfast. Only one time I ate the breakfast in the dining cart that costed $20. So it was either then or one other time. Um, I think it was after leaving Detroit and then Detroit to Chicago. Um, I mean the Chicago to Seattle. I think that might have been the time that I might have had the $20 breakfast. One of those times. But anyway, but no, you know what? I think the first day I had the Subway, you know, and I had a few snacks, and I didn't go to Rouse's like I had wanted to. My mind was not clear. Excuse me, to load up on whatever before getting on the train. Excuse me. So then yeah, I had what, let's see. Yeah, so I think it might have been a morning that I didn't have anything to eat for breakfast, and I just waited for Jollibee. Or if not that, then I don't remember what I did for breakfast that morning or whatever. Excuse me, but I was all excited, and I had Jollibee, and after that, like, I was irritable and moody and frustrated, trying to figure out what shelter to go to. And I went to this regular shelter, one shelter, and they said they didn't have any room or any space available. And then they told me, "Oh, you just missed such and such meals or whatever." And I just felt grossed out and dirty with my OCD and everything. And then I got back on the bus. Even the transit buses in Chicago are very dirty, and the snow makes everything even dirtier. And um, so it took a while for me to realize that they had local trains. That I could have taken trains and stuff. You know, no, I took the train like the next day. That Sunday, I took a train. Trying to go to um a certain city, and I didn't find out until yesterday. No, yesterday or the day. No, it was the day before yesterday. I found out. Excuse me. That the city that I was it was two cities I was trying to check out and trying to go to, and they were both on the same train. That I didn't know I was supposed to take the metro train, and then maybe from the metro train I probably could have taken the Uber ride, but I try to take the buses. was supposed to take the metro train, not the local train. And so the regional train I was supposed to take, not the local city train. So the metro train, I was trying to go to Harvey, Illinois, and I was trying to go to Madison, Illinois, and check out a couple of things. Harvey, see, they got Harvey, Louisiana, Harvey, Illinois, so I want to try to do both. You know, um, I wanted to check out Harvey, Illinois. Kind of find out, I did not know that Harvey, Illinois is the hood, you know, and there's just nothing but hood stuff over there. I didn't know. But Madison is really nice. I tried to check out a park over there, and then I had to use the bathroom so bad because I had that incident where I tried to go to this restaurant and they wouldn't let me use the bathroom and they were playing sight games. And I tried to be a customer and buy something and use the bathroom. And, I did a video letting y'all know that Marnell's driving or whatever was being rude to me. And then after Madison, I got dropped off to a bus stop, and I went to some kind of little cafe or whatever in a place called Tinley Park, and it was a nice looking area. It was a nice area over there. And then I took the bus, and I had an encounter with a rude bus driver, and that let me off at the wrong train station. This was that Sunday, February 1st, I guess. Yeah. But when I went to the park in Madison, well, they had this church that I tried to use the bathroom. They let me use the bathroom. And it's like everything was covered in snow, and it was too cold. Nobody was there. It seemed scary. Everybody was leaving that church or whatever. They had two churches like right next to the park. Excuse me. Yeah, and I kind of wanted to like venture out or whatever, away from being downtown all the time. But yeah, Tinley Park, that area seemed like really nice, you know. But there were more things I wanted to try out and explore, especially the free things. But it was so freezing, so cold, or whatever. Um, excuse me. So yeah, the first day I tried to get into shelters, and then there was this. After this one shelter that they said they didn't have any room, I tried to go to this warming center, and I thought it was going to be open overnight, and they said no, they closed at 5. And even at the warming center, it was like a homeless day drop-in center. And at the homeless day center, the warming center, excuse me, they closed at 5 in the afternoon. And you know, they closed at 5, and yeah, they try to say you couldn't charge your phone, you couldn't talk on your phone, you couldn't do this, you couldn't do that, you couldn't whatever, this rule, that rule. I'm like, well, so many rules, you can't even just freaking breathe up in there. You breaking the damn rule, you know. Excuse me. So I found a way. I was able to get into that hostel, and I'm surprised I kind of liked it, you know. So like that evening, I think it was kind of later. Excuse me, and I don't remember if it was the first night or the second night, and I don't remember if that hostel gave free breakfast or not. I don't remember, but I think that Sunday I had Dunkin' Donuts for breakfast, and they had like a $5 deal, and I don't even drink coffee, but I had the coffee and a $5 deal plus an extra donut, and that costed like 7 something. Excuse me, and Yeah, and I was trying to learn my way around, and yeah, I think the first night or the second night, one of those nights, I redeemed the coupon for Domino's that I had enough points for free bread bites, so with Parmesan bread bites, and that was like dinner. And the other two nights, like one night I ordered, I don't remember if it was, I think it was DoorDash for one time, and it was buy one get one free sandwich, or free sandwich and cake, whatever, drink. And then the next day I had the other sandwich the next day, so excuse me, it was like buy one get one free, and then the next day I had the other sandwich, so I didn't have to worry about buying dinner or whatever. But yeah, I don't think that house still had free breakfast, but because if they did, I wouldn't have a reason to have had Dunkin' Donuts. But they did have certain ice cream socials or certain outings or certain activities that I had missed out on, you know. But I think it was the last day. Well, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I think it was that Monday or that Tuesday was the day I went to the zoo. It was a free zoo, and it was in the rain. Excuse me. And for lunch, I felt bad that I ate. I mean, I was sleep deprived and couldn't think properly, couldn't think straight, and I went to you know, excuse me. Um, I felt bad that I ate lunch at the zoo, and I'm like, well, I probably should have ate elsewhere. But there was this one pizza place that people had recommended that you gotta try the Chicago dog. You gotta try the Chicago deep dish pizza. You gotta try this. You gotta try that. And the pizza place that I went to was really good, and like it changed my perspective on deep dish pizza, because I think that was my first time having like a real Chicago deep dish pizza. It was the crust was like buttery, and it was really good. Different from if you try to get quote unquote deep dish pizza from like Domino's or Pizza Hut, whatever, just nasty. Excuse me. So it changed my opinion about deep dish pizza. But I like the deep dish pizza, and I like Chicago dog. And I think the man let me have like free ice cream or something like that, and he pulled strings to get me some free ice cream, you know, and did something else nice for me. And he was really nice. And yeah, because they're like, yeah, you got to make sure you try it before you leave. Make sure you try the Chicago dog, or make sure you try the pizza, the Chicago deep dish pizza. It's a must try before you leave, and whatever. But I think I went to the library one time, and I don't remember what day it was. Sunday, that Sunday, I went to the park, and I ventured out, and I was running around. So I don't remember if it was that first day, that Saturday. No, it wasn't then. It probably was that Monday that I went to the library or something. Wait, the free. I went to the free. I went to the free zoo, and after the zoo, I went to this free museum. And then after that, then I went to the library. But the stalkers thought that I was at the library. I was trying to live stream at the museum. And they were trying to guess that I was at the library. Then they illegally found out the museum that I was at. And they were trying to get me wrongfully kicked out and banned. The online stalkers, when I was live streaming, they were trying to get me wrongfully kicked out of and banned from the museum. For nothing. you know, um, excuse me, they were trying to vex me, you know, but there were a few other things that happened. I wish I could tell y'all, talk about, but I'm not gonna say it. Um, but So we went from Chicago, I mean the train or whatever, to Detroit. And when I went from Detroit to Seattle, I had to take like a, because there was a shuttle bus or something like that. A shuttle bus that take you from I mean, because they had a service disruption probably due to the weather. And so we ended up taking like a bus from um Detroit back to Chicago. And that took a couple of hours. And then after we got back to Chicago, then we took the train to Seattle, you know. And I only spent like one evening and one night in Detroit. So like I had White Castle for lunch when I got off the train in Detroit. And I then I went down to the library and spent the afternoon in the library, and it was life threatening, freezing cold. And um I try to call, like, whenever I would get to a new town, I would try to first things first. Well, I had a little bit money left over, um so when I was in Chicago, I had a little bit money left over, so that's how I was able to stay in the hostels and stuff. But excuse me, my plan was, I thought that, I mean, the real reason I left New Orleans to take the trains to get away from Mardi Gras was the chief reason, and I thought that maybe I could ride the trains and don't have to worry about asking for hotel help or whatever, or not. And I said, well, I'm gonna have to ask for funds for food, because I knew I was gonna run out of funds shortly, you know. But um, I I thought I would you know, I thought that it would. I thought things did not turn out the way I thought they were, you know, because it was the first experience, and I thought I would be on the trains longer, and I thought that, well, if I'm riding the train, I thought I would be safe from the cold, and I could have a place to use the bathroom, charge my phone, and, you know, be safe from the cold and riding around, and you know, trying to have some mental clarity, some peace of mind, you know. And I don't. Well, there was only one lady on the first train coming from New Orleans to Chicago. She was a little bit annoying or whatever, but she kind of made me feel uncomfortable. But other than that, I didn't really have problems, you know, much problems on the train coming from New Orleans to Chicago. But then there was another train called the Wolverine that took us from Chicago to Detroit. And when I say us, I'm talking about us passengers on the train. Excuse me. You know. So yeah, I spent a few days in Chicago, and you know, there were more free things that I was trying to look into and explore. So I thought about that, if I go to a certain new city, and then first things first, go to the library and see what homeless resources they got, and charge my phone, use the bathroom, and try to rest up at the library, and or try to see what homeless shelters or what soup kitchens or whatever that they had or whatever. You know, I'm surprised that Chicago didn't have that much. You know, they didn't have this or that or whatever. And I'm like, wow, I thought Chicago was a huge city with a lot of different things. You know, you know. So then, um, Yeah, those warming centers did not stay open like the website said, you know, and so yeah, I kind of liked being at the Chicago hostel. I liked that hostel. Excuse me, but it wasn't perfect, and I had a couple little small little issues here and there, but I liked it, you know. But so that was my first time like staying in a hostel out of state from where I actually been at. I mean, but that's like I stayed in the Marquette hostel here in New Orleans, but I was a native here. I would explain that in the beginning of the video. I stayed at the Marquette hostel. But um yeah, like this is my first time like traveling and staying at any hostel or whatever. And it was really cheap and affordable, like under $50. Like it was like 30, 40, 50, somewhere around there, between 30 and 50 per night, you know. Excuse me. And when I was in Detroit, yeah, I only spent like one evening there, and I had that issue where I was not allowed in the shelter. It was like 12 degrees, and I thought I was gonna roll over and freeze to death. And there was black men that would not allow me in the shelter, you know. And the stalkers had their own fake narrative, and I didn't even get to tell what happened, like go into detail and tell them what happened, But the stalkers had already had their lying, false narrative made up, you know. So there was black guys that were rude and insensitive, and threw me out and would not let me in a shelter. And you know, excuse me, I tried whatever I could to fight to survive that cold, extreme cold. And and then, you know, thankfully someone had got me enough funds to get me a motel. The stalkers illegally found out that I was in a motel in Melvindale, Michigan. Excuse me, and it was like between 10 o'clock at night and midnight. I had to take an Uber way over there. I didn't know where the hell I was or where I was going or whatever. I was trying to figure out what is closer to downtown or closer to the station or whatever where I could go to. But it's like, wow, I found myself in Melvindale, Michigan, and it was very cold, and I think the room that they put me in, they said it was the last motel room. Excuse me, and they had a perp waiting for me when my Uber had arrived. They had a perp waiting for me, and when we arrived at the motel, the perp illegally drove off erratically in that snow. Excuse me. So that motel was like $50 or $60 per night and no deposit. But it was so cold that I couldn't take a shower, and I had to bundle up as best as I could. The heater was not working, and the bed was like very dirty and stained up, and I just didn't feel comfortable. I just felt so icky up in there, and I got up at like 4 o'clock or 4:30 to get up and go. I take another Uber to get to the train station, and then and I had White Castle. Like for signing up, I was able to get like a couple of free this, free that, in addition to things that I bought, And I'm surprised that those sliders. I'm surprised I was able to get full, because I thought I could eat three, but all I was able to eat was two sliders. You know, and it was the White Castle right across the street from the train station. Excuse me. And I took a bus, local transit bus, and oh, they had all that snow. The first day, after I got there, and for some reason it took me. I don't know if they were serving everybody before me at White Castle, but it took me an hour and 20 minutes to finally get my food, and and then I tried to walk to the library, and I was sleep deprived. After taking the Wolverine route of the train, and then I went to the library, asked for resources, try to call up resources, call up homeless outreach centers, and excuse me, I explained my disability. I explained certain situations to the lady. Twice she had to send an Uber. So basically I took 3 Ubers that night. The first lady, I think she had a red vehicle, but she was all right. But the second guy, no, I don't remember if her vehicle was red or not. I think she was kind of a perp some kind of way. And then the second guy had a red Tesla, and he was being a jerk asshole. And excuse me, he was perping with the red Tesla, and he didn't want to put the heater on. And he was acting erratic and weird. I don't remember everything. He was weird, a weird fake thug perp, and his car smelled like weed. And I don't remember everything else that happened. Excuse me. So I got wrongfully kicked out of that shelter because, with me having like severe OCD, I tried to ask for permission before they searched my belongings. I said, "Can I have permission to sanitize and clean off the table before I put my stuff on the table?" And they wouldn't let me do that. They didn't care. They try to make it like I was just not following rules, and they're like, "Oh, you don't want to comply? Get out of here." And I'm like, wow, they're ignorant. I was trying to ask to make, because I was panicking and freaking out of everything being dirty, and I tried to ask if I could clean off the table first before I put my stuff down for them to, search and look through my stuff or whatever. And I even hate my stuff being searched. I hate my stuff being touched. So that's why when they illegally swap me and I get wrongfully thrown in jail, it's the ultimate violation for them to just touch and contaminate all my belongings. In jail or whatever, or a mental institution or whatever. But anyway, back to yeah. So the shelter is like you're paying to live in jail, you're paying to live in prison or whatever. So yeah, the guys were cutthroat and didn't care about my situation, my disability, or nothing. They just threw me out of the shelter. And I heard that shelter has a bad reputation. And then I was sent to another shelter. And the other shelter, and they were much nicer and more compassionate, but they said, unfortunately, there was no more space. There was no more room. So thankfully, someone was concerned about me being out there in the cold and, paid for me to go to, because I think closer to downtown or closer to where I was at. I don't even know if I was downtown, where the hell I was at, or closer to where I was at. Hotels were more expensive, but I don't remember how much the Uber ride was, but I'm pretty sure it was under $25. Uber ride plus the hotel. And then I had to take another Uber back. And then I had White Castle for breakfast that morning. And then they had service disruption or mechanical issues or something with the train. So we had some kind of shuttle bus, excuse me, that looked like a tour bus. It was a white bus with like no writing on it, and I don't remember. I don't think the bus driver scanned our tickets or whatever. So I rode the bus and got to Chicago after a few hours, but they were trying to say something about I was a no-show, so I had to explain that I rode the bus when I called up the customer service. So then Amtrak, they still had me as a no-show on there, but for Amtrak they reimbursed me $50 for future train travel. So I have a $50 voucher for future train travel. And so I rode the bus to Chicago, and then we rode the train from Chicago back in Chicago. I was in Chicago for a couple hours, a few hours, something. And excuse me. Then I was like, my body is long overdue for something healthy because all I've been eating was sandwiches. So I'm glad to have had like a very healthy lunch and a few healthy snacks or whatever. And then I think the extra snacks or whatever I had on the train later that night. And so I rode from Chicago to Seattle on a train. And I think the next morning, then, I think was when might have been the time when I had the $20 train breakfast in the dining car. That was the only time that throughout this trip that I had the $20 breakfast. But I mostly had my own stuff on the train, but only a couple of times, like maybe 3 or 4 times, I had moments where I needed to go down to the cafe car at the bottom level of the observation car or the sightseeing car or whatever. I didn't even spend much time in this observation car. I think for a brief moment I stayed like 10 or 20 minutes in the observation car and just sat down and recorded something. I mostly stayed in my seat and only got up to go to the bathroom or get up to go to the mainly get up to go to the bathroom or whatever, or to go to the cafe car of the train. With this pass I rode coach. So like, yes, as I said, the first trip from New Orleans to Chicago wasn't really much issue, but the train ride from after the Detroit situation, after that I rode from Chicago to Seattle. And I think that was the train ride where they had a couple of perps made fake anonymous complaints about me, trying to get me wrongfully kicked off the train because my OCD and disinfecting or whatever. But and one of the younger guy looked like he was 21, 22 years old. And he tried to tell me, he waited till he saw me disinfecting and sanitizing to tell me that there were a couple of people that made complaints about me, and then later on he said that the conductors and people said don't worry about it, and if they got a problem, then just that they should move to another seat or another train car or whatever. But then why didn't I have a right to complain if people were making noise? So that was the only time that they made a complaint. And I like these were malicious perps trying to get me wrongfully kicked off the train, trying to get me, and they want to be fake anonymous cowards, But after that, everything turned out fine. But coming from, I had that issue in Detroit where I told y'all what happened. Then when I went to Seattle, I had to ask for donations and ask for help in live stream, and I got help with barely enough, help for one night in the hostel. And I'm never going there. I'm never going to that hostel for multiple reasons. I don't remember the name of the hostel, but I bet you the perps know. But after that first night, like the next couple of nights, they had a bunch of homeless people around there, and I sat on the benches. Had to be on the streets for like 2 or 3 nights. It was definitely 2, but I don't remember if it was a 3rd night I had to be on the streets. But y'all saw the live stream with the fake net stars perp and that sabotage hotel or hostile help. And then he lied and said he never said I was a scammer and a fraud. He lied to my face and said he never said that I was a scammer or a fraud. And I'm like, yes, you did. And kind of find out he is part of the cult. He lied and said he wasn't. And he was too old to be doing, playing those kinds of games. If they say he was 67 years old, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Too old to be playing those kinds of freaking games. And he was trying to traffic me. And they say he had a white van waiting for me or whatever. And they had certain people that defended me against him. But then again, they were the motivation for why I did that video talking about fake supporters. Because how you gonna defend me against him, but at the same time say Candy is crazy as fuck? Like, you don't even know me. For you to say Candy's crazy as fuck, you're proving that you're a gang stalker, or you're part of the cult. So they try to make it like they don't like him either. And then they deleted their fake live streams, fake defending me and whatever, And they were people who were former cult followers of the fake Aggressive Defiance TV perp. And NetStars was associated with him too. But I think that that's like street theater and controlled opposition. That they all pretending like they don't like each other no more or whatever. And they said NetStars is still friendly with my perp twin sister, So, like, yeah, in Detroit, I didn't get to really do much of anything, But Seattle, I was looking for this one thing, and I thought it was a whole waterfall kind of museum, but come to find out, it's just this one little thing with waterfall or something. I was disappointed because it wasn't what I was expecting. Excuse me. I didn't even really get to do much in Seattle, but fighting to survive. And so yeah, the first night I had to help in the hostel, and that was a little more expensive than the hostel in Chicago. And the guys that were working there were shady and weird, and I couldn't find out, like, they lied and said that there was someone that was supposed to be coming in the bottom bunk, and nobody showed up. And they forced me to get on a top bunk with no help. And with my disability, I had trouble getting on and off the bunk bed. And it's like, oh no, like, but I was desperate to get out of the cold, and I didn't know until the next morning that they forced me to be in a room with a bunch of men, and I was the only female with a bunch of men. And it's like, wait a minute, they didn't even inform me that I was going to be in a room with guys and that this was a co-ed dorm room or whatever or nothing, But come to find out, this supposed person that was supposed to show up, that's supposed to be at the bottom bunk, they never showed up. And I bet you they were probably able-bodied enough that they probably could have got up on the top bunk. And they had, like, it was very difficult with going up and down the stairs. They had no elevators. And but they did have breakfast the next morning. And excuse me. But, like, yeah, they had breakfast they had breakfast there the next morning, But at that hostel, the perps were asking me, oh, what? Not the perps I'm not talking about people at the hostel. I'm talking about the online perps with the cult, with demanding an answer for, yeah, Candy, she's lying about having a hotel, because where are your bags? Where are your bags? Well, I'm telling my supporters in this video that what happened was, after you check out of the hostel allowed for you at no extra charge to leave your belongings at that place for 24 hours. And that's what I did. And try to remain free-handed and, go and sightseeing and doing this and doing that, whatever. And I went to the library like almost every day for the few days I was in Seattle. Like, at the house, the shelters, and I think they said that there was really no shelter space in Seattle, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so I couldn't get into a shelter in Seattle. And one set of shelters said that, oh, you came too late or whatever, and then the next day, or that, oh, we don't have no room, this and that, whatever. I don't remember everything, but so the second and third night, I ended up on the streets. I was on the streets, and the first night I was able to live stream and everything was fine, and then the second time I was trying to and my bags were at the hostel. My two bags that I have, they were at the hostel. And so the next morning, I was able to get my bags and stuff. So I had and I didn't know that NetStars was living in Seattle, and the fake Mark Russell perp claimed to live in Seattle too, and was bullying and threatening me and harassing me, and trying to do me in, and he was also threatening me. So I thought the fake Mark Russell perp lived in New York somewhere. And how is he connected with the fake Erica Frost perp? I don't get it. I don't know. But they deny being satanic. They deny being part of the fake Red Triangle cult. They deny trying to sex traffic people. They deny all the wrongs and abuse, and try to cover up every dirty thing that they try to do. So, yeah, what else I was going to say about Seattle? Yeah, so the online stalkers threatened to swat me, and they swatted me with the fake security guards and not the cops. And if they had a bunch of people screaming, but after I didn't know about the Super Bowl or nothing, because I I didn't know that they said the Seattle Seahawks had won, but I heard that they played in San Francisco. And that was my next destination. Like, I didn't even know. And so I left Seattle a day early to go to San Francisco, because they had train service disruptions, because I was supposed to have left that Wednesday, and I ended up leaving that Tuesday because, or was it the 10th? I left Seattle and went to, I left Seattle a day early to go to San Francisco, because, I left Seattle a day early because I was gonna, they said because of the parade that was gonna be that Wednesday, which the day I was scheduled to leave, that there was a parade, in Seattle that would have caused the train trip to be either postponed or. So I pushed the trip up a day early because of what NetStars did, and now everybody was saying, get out of Seattle. Seattle's dangerous or whatever, and because of what he did and everything, that's why I pushed up the day. Everybody saying, get out of Seattle as fast as you can. So I pushed it up a day earlier rather than staying that Wednesday or staying a couple more days or whatever. I just, left a day early. Now, someplace downtown. I don't remember the name of the restaurant. I had some kind. Finally got to have a dish called I don't know if it was Hawaiian or Japanese. I had spam musubi, and I had some kind of and it was affordable. I think it was two pieces for $11. I don't know. That probably might be expensive for that price. I don't know, but I'm surprised it filled me up. I wanted to try the spam musubi. Um, and then I had a drink with it. It was like fruit juice or whatever. I don't remember if it was guava, orange juice, and some other drink, and all that. For $6. Yeah, I wanted to try it, but I was disappointed with the drink. But it was one of those days I was there. I don't remember, but I wanted to try the spam musubi. I didn't take pictures of it, but it was small. But I was surprised it filled me up. Maybe because of the seaweed or something. I don't know, but it was good. You know, but mm, I don't remember. Yeah, the last night that I was there, I went to the mall, that little mall where Net Stars had showed up at, and the workers there, they were rude and didn't want me to use the bathroom. I went to that little Mexican place at the mall, and because that was one of the cheaper and more affordable ones, and more affordable places to eat in that little mall. And the security guards, they wouldn't. I'm sorry, not the security guards. The janitors were rude and wouldn't let me use the bathroom. And the people at the restaurant, I mean at the place that I went to eat at, they were a tad bit rude, and their food had no flavor at all. I don't remember the name of the restaurant, but they were kind of rude and wouldn't let me have like a I don't remember if it was a refill on water to drink, or like extra water or something. They acted a certain kind of weird and rude, and as I said, the food had no flavor at all, and it was like a dinner plate or something that was under $15 or something. I don't remember what it was. I think it did have beans and rice, and I don't remember what I had, what dish I had or whatever. But anyway, so the first night I live streamed in that area, I got the help and was able to get into that hostel, and I had the hostel experience, the stalkers illegally, the online cult. They found out I was at that hostel before I even said anything. And I had actually fell off of the bed, and one of the men, I had, it was like before 5 o'clock in the morning, I had to cry out for help, and help ask somebody to help me get off the top bunk of the bed, and me and the guy, we both fell on the floor. But the guys that worked at that hostel, they seemed kind of shady. Well, the night guy, the guy that looked kind of Asian, he was acting a certain kind of shady and weird. And then he's like, "You gotta keep the light off and keep quiet or whatever." I'm like, "Well, how can I see where I'm putting my belongings at?" You know. So I'm like, "How can I see where I'm putting my belongings, or how can I see what I'm doing?" You know. And I think it was at that hostel was when I noticed that my at that hostel was when I noticed that my bag of I mean that my bottle of liquid soap had spilled all over my bag, and I couldn't do anything about it until I got into the free night of hotel in the San Francisco metro area. I finally was able to get the bag washed, and I had to throw away a lot of stuff out of my bag. You know, I had to throw away a lot of stuff out of my bag. Um, because soap got all over everything. But I was able to get all my clothes washed. But I don't want to. Ooh, they're forcing me to burp. I mean, no, not burp. I guess it was burp. Um, hiccup. I meant. Um, so I don't want to talk ahead of myself. So, the second night when I was in Seattle, I was, live streaming trying to get help for a hotel out of the cold, and that's when Netstar showed up, and he went there not to help but to sabotage, and he was trying to traffic me. And certain people saying, "Go ahead, take that money," and others were saying, "Don't take it. It's a satanic deal offer, a fake offer, satanic. They're trying to get you to sell out." So I mean, even then, I knew what he was about. I was not gonna take anything from him, And then, he even said during the live stream, like he did what Sticky did, you know, filmed himself, coming up to me and live streaming me while I was live streaming. I didn't consent or didn't even know or was aware they pop up unexpectedly. But the fake rapper J Perp sent me a fake harassing email the day before and saying Netstars is your new handler. He owns you. He this and that, whatever. Y'all too retarded to be handlers. Y'all too immature to be trying to control somebody. I know nobody will let me be anybody's kind of freaking handler. They would think I'm too retarded to be anybody's handler or controlling another person. So they're trying to manipulate, and trying to use manipulation and coercion to trying to force me to be part of their fake cult. And that's another reason why people say it's trafficking. When you're targeted and they're trying to force you to become a perp. And if they don't succeed, they'll kill you off. And then lie and say you committed suicide, or lie and say it was an accident, like they do to celebrities. But we're poor, we targets. We're poor celebrities. I don't even think people who really are famous, a lot of real celebrities, like I think that the real celebrities, don't, well, especially if they became famous from a kid. I don't think they ever really asked for the fame, but the parents forced them, because of the satanic bloodline and all that, and then some of the mind control kids resist. They get a certain age as an adult and resist the programming, and then end up dead, and like I heard that Michael Jackson never asked to be famous or never wanted to be, but his dad forced him, and he was even resisting from a little child. And he, ended up being more famous than he wanted to be. He just wanted a regular, normal life. He didn't want the fame, But anyway, back to my situation. So I got no help that night with Netstars. That might have been the night that I had the spam musubi. I might have had like enough funds just for dinner, and that was probably it. But either that or the first night, I don't remember which night it was that I had the spam musubi. But it was like I don't remember if it was like a Japanese Hawaiian fusion, Japanese Hawaiian and Mexican fusion restaurant. I don't remember what it was. But anyway, but yeah, when Netstars was harassing me during my live stream, I think I did a second live stream and he came back to harass some more, and I couldn't find both of those times where he came to harass me, and now I don't want shit from y'all, but to be left alone. So he did go back behind my back even after the fake live stream games that he tried to play, and try to lie and say that I'm a scammer and a fraud or whatever, or that I want to be homeless for pity. All the lies from my twin sister, because he's connected with her, you know, and my twin sister sending people to help her sacrifice me for the cult. And when I don't fall for their tricks, they become more abusive. So, yeah, so for even the night after the situation with NetStars, I had to be another night on the streets, and then I took the train the next morning because the train station closed down 2 hours before the website said. They said that the train station closed at 11, but the guys at the train station said no, we closed at 9. So I went the next morning to go to the train station and wait until leave from Seattle to go to San Francisco. Excuse me. So after the situation with NetStars harassing me, the stalkers illegally swatted me with the fake security guard, and the people were screaming because the Seattle Seahawks won and everybody was going crazy or whatever. And so the fake security guard, they planted him and sent him to come and harass me and tell me that I was trespassing and couldn't be on by that area. But nobody said anything the day before. And the fake security guard tried to talk about me screaming or whatever. And he's trying to lie and say, well, I saw you. I was looking at the cameras and I saw you on the cameras. How long you been sitting here for? Oh, you've been over here for over 2 hours. You can't be here. You got to leave and this and that, whatever. And I question every time when I try to question him about the stalkers calling, he kept lying and saying no. He tried to gaslight, play psychological games, and lie, and say that nobody called. And he's like, "Yeah, you were on my property. Like you don't own shit. You just work here." He's like, "Well, I'm the one who's governing this property or whatever. I'm the one who's in charge. I'm the one who oversees it. So therefore, it's mine, my property or whatever." So he lied and said that the stalkers did not call when the stalkers admitted that they were the ones who called. And they called up lying and saying that I was screaming. And then he tried to tell me, don't worry about, screaming. Don't worry about me asking you about screaming. But he tried to lie and say that nobody called and that he just saw me on the cameras. But I looked all around and other people said that there were no security cameras right there, that they sent him out there to come and harass me. And he probably was a fake poser pretending to be one of the security guard managers. And he tried to lie and say that other security guards had made complaints about me standing out there. And, that pretty much soured that portion of my trip. Now, the stalkers, I don't know why they were threatening me before and saying that you better not come to Seattle. But what else was I supposed to, what other city was I supposed to change everything to if I was already on a train? And they were saying, you better not come to Seattle. We got something for you, this and that, whatever, But I don't know what NetStars could have or would have done to me. But he pretended to be a fake security guard of some sort as well, Excuse me. And he's definitely a satanic part of the cult. I don't care what nobody says. They keep lying. Yeah, yes, you are part of this shit. Yeah, you associated with fake Sticky and all of them. And as I said, so many fake supporters pretending that they were helping, but at the same time still trying to call me crazy and everything. Well, if you think I'm crazy, stay away from me and don't help. Don't call yourself pretending that you're supportive of me and doing videos about me and then slandering me and saying like double-minded stuff about me. One moment you make it like you support me and you're gonna help me with this and help me with that and you care about me, and then in another part of the video they'll say, oh, she's crazy, she's a scammer, she's this, that, and oh, she ain't mentally well and she this and that, whatever. I'm like, well, you're not a real supporter. I see your fakeness. Don't come in my live streams don't come talk to me, don't do nothing. So that Willie Wise guy was associated with my twin sister too. I heard people trying to say that they were dating or whatever. And Willie Wise was like a supposed former friend of NetStars, and he was doing a live stream saying that 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 NetStars was being creepy and stalking and trying to manipulate and control him too or whatever. And that he persistently that he would not leave Willie Wise alone or whatever. I don't know. But they try to make like Willie Wise was this weird guy who was. They try to say he was dating my twin sister. I don't know what the hell was going on. But I try to stay in my own lane on YouTube and just document my targeting. Try to share my short stories. Talk about my day. Talk about my homeless life. And if I need help, I ask for help. If I don't, I'll let y'all know I don't need help. So I hate that I'm in a situation. I did not ask to be targeted. I did not ask to be gang stalked. I did not ask to be homeless. I did not ask to live a life where I'm forced to have to ask internet strangers for money in order to survive, because I try to write short stories. I try to do YouTube. They shut down everything. They don't want me earning an income unless I sell out. And that's not with me. That's with everybody. They want everybody selling out and being evil. And they think that's the right way to go. You stalkers, you're not God. Let God govern my life, not you being a sinner, unrepentant, satanic sinner, human being. So anyway, I think with the situation with the fake security guard, my mind is kind of clouded. I didn't explain it as good as, I hope y'all understand what I was trying to say. But yeah, the stalkers prank called and made false reports, lying and saying that I was screaming, and then the fake security guard tried to lie and say that nobody called and that he just saw me on the cameras, and other people saying that that the security guard was lying, that there were no cameras right there and he had been called, and the fake security guard lied and said other security guards had called and came up to him and made complaints. But the security guards from the day before, they saw me and they didn't say nothing. They didn't tell me, oh, you can't be here, you whatever, But the stalkers, they don't want me live streaming anywhere. And if I can live stream without them trying to put things to a stop, then that's more money I can earn. But I end up earning enough money for like 1 or 2 hotel nights when I get the AdSense payment. So but anyway, after leaving Seattle with the San Francisco trip, they gave us assigned seats, and they said one set of people blue, and you get on one train car, and the other set of people pink on the other train car. And so they had this satanic female perp that deliberately got on the wrong car and lied and said that they told her to get on that one. And she came and sat by me. I know I'm pretty big and overweight due to my disability and the psych meds that they forced me to take throughout, and the medical experimentation throughout many years. But they sat a female twice my size to come sit on top of me on the train and squish me. And no, I was like, no way in hell. That she trying to argue me, and she lied and said that they told her to come, and like, no, you were on the right, you had the right train number, the train seat number, but you had the wrong car. You were supposed to go in the other train car because you were pink, not blue like us. But she knew what she was doing. She went purple with a lot of red and sat on top of me. She was so big, she sat on top of me. And I was smothered and could not breathe. And I'm like, how the hell they put 2 big women, on the same train car? And she was fake nice, but she had all these satanic clothing. And, I couldn't wait to get the hell, And then two train attendants got, they had one train attendant, there was a black guy that was rude from the start. Rude from even that morning, he got really nasty with me. And then another train attendant that I couldn't tell what gender that bastard was, was kind of rude too. But some of the train attendants or whatever are nice, and certain train rides I didn't have much any problem. But they had all these empty train seats, and they come and sit her right by me. I mean, well, I don't know. Well, she said they came and told her to come sit there. And I'm like, bitch, you're lying. I didn't tell that to her face, but like, she was lying. And she knew she was lying, And I was desperate to switch seats, and they finally let me. They tried to be like, oh, well, what's wrong with the one? Y'all know what y'all doing. So I finally got to go and was allowed to go and move seats and sit somewhere else. And I was, finally able to be relaxed and comfortable again. And that's when the online stalkers lied and said that I had upgraded to a roomette, and I had never upgraded to a roomette. If you didn't see me say on camera I upgraded to a roomette, then I didn't do it. So where the hell you stalkers getting these fake ideas from? 50s and 60s lying on people, starting false rumors and lying on people. I didn't even have money like that to be up, and they try to lie and say, "Oh, Candy upgraded into a roomette, and here's how she's keeping a scam going." They just making up shit, lying on people. It was another coach seat that I sat at. Excuse me. So, she went from Salem, Oregon to Sacramento, California, and there was a black guy that was sitting across, and he was defending her and making like he felt pity and felt sorry for her, and made it like I was just being nasty and treating her mean. And that wasn't the case. She was big enough that she was sitting like on top of my thighs and everything, like I couldn't breathe. Like she was on top of me, squishing me. She was so big. But I know I'm big too, but she was bigger. And I think that was a gang stalking setup. She knew what the hell she was doing. She was supposed to go in the other train car. And she lied and said that they assigned her. And the guy whoever looked gender neutral was the one who blew me off and got an attitude and acting like, he didn't care or it didn't matter. And then I was angry to find out that she was the only one with the pink slip, while everybody else on the car was mostly blue, but some white. But they had a bunch of empty seats. No way in hell they have her to come sit right next to me on purpose to get me to say something. And that might have been what the online stalkers said, that, we're gonna, because fake rapper Jay sent me a fake harassing email before leaving Seattle. He said, yeah, we're gonna cause you to have a mental breakdown on the train. And that was their attempt, I guess. The online stalkers probably planted and sent her or paid her to come do what she did to me. And it might not have much to do with the train operators themselves. So, but at least half of the trip I had no problems on the train, or not much issue, but dealing with my OCD and everything, feeling uncomfortable. The train seats and stuff were more like spacious and more spacious and comfortable or whatever. And I try to be respectful to other passengers. Like if I needed to drape my jacket, my coat, on the back of my seat, I would ask the people behind me, is it a bother, or do I have permission, or if they say, it's fine, whatever. So I would ask first before I put my would this be in your way? Try to be considerate and respectful, but I'm glad I was able to use the bathroom and stuff. Um, but I'm surprised they had certain food on the train that be good. But I don't like everything. But those butter cakes on the train were the best. The butter cakes, and I like the cinnamon streusel coffee cake. I like that too. You know. But yeah. So yeah, she got off at Sacramento. The next morning, I was relieved. Her and that guy, cause the black guy, felt like he could defend her because they were both going to the same place or whatever, you know. But then so when I went to San Francisco, we had to get like a train to Emeryville, California, and then take this little shuttle bus from Emeryville, like less than 30 minutes from Emeryville to San Francisco. In San Francisco, I went to the downtown library. I mean, I was trying to go to the soup kitchens and the shelters and stuff. Oh, I couldn't even you know, I couldn't go to the soup kitchens and the shelters because that the first day they had the homeless perp that perped me out of there. Hold on, y'all. I gotta use the bathroom. Take a bathroom break. All right, I'm back. Oh, I had to use the bathroom so bad. So I forgot to say that Sunday in Seattle, there was a Catholic church that I went to. I don't know why I felt like it was in San Francisco, but it wasn't. It was in Seattle. And they had this church that Sunday. I think it could have been after church service, but they feed the community. I think I showed the video, a quick shorts video, whatever. They feed you really good. They give you lots and lots of food or whatever. Excuse me, but I had so much food I couldn't eat it all. And they had like a dang, I forgot what organization that was giving away like food bags or whatever, and they had like a clothing you know, and they both, I found out about them at the last minute and ended up I wasn't able to get to the clothing place or whatever, but I think I was able to grab a quick bag of food, and I went to that Catholic church, and they gave plentiful amount of food, and I had to use the bathroom so bad, but they let me use the bathroom, and I had plentiful amount of food, and I tried to, some of the extra food I couldn't keep it for myself, so I had to give it away. But yeah, you know what? Super Bowl was on Sunday, huh? Yeah, that night of the Super Bowl, I think was the situation with the fake security guard and Net Stars. So that was like February 9th it's February 8th or 9th that the incident happened. One of those days, either the 8th or the 9th. Wait, no, it was February 8th was a Sunday. Yeah, all right. So it was February 8th, the situation with Net Stars happened. And that was the day, earlier that day, I went to the Catholic church and the other church. So I didn't think I needed help with food, but I definitely needed a hotel. See, that forced part in me. I needed help with the hotel, hotel or something. But yeah, that night my belongings were at the hostel because they said that you're able to leave your belongings there for 24 hours after you check out. And then earlier the next morning, like that Monday morning, I went to get my my bags from that place and had to carry them around all day. And I think I went to the library. Now that Monday morning, still nobody was helping me with breakfast. So I was trying to live stream for help. And I saw a homeless guy at the library like 7 something in the morning. And he was walking around with a knife. Like, and so I didn't feel safe and I was scared to call the police. And there was this coffee shop that I try to ask for, what could I get for $2.50 whatever cents or whatever. And the lady at the, no, it wasn't a coffee shop, it was some kind of cafe nearby. And she said that all I was able to get was like a banana or something for 89 cents. But thankfully a guy stepped in and he had voluntarily you know bought me a sandwich, a breakfast sandwich to eat and stuff, you know and like in Seattle trying to panhandle, nobody has cash, nobody will help. And in Seattle, I mean Chicago, when I tried to panhandle, it was a black guy was generous enough to give me $2. But most people rude and won't help in Chicago either. So I guess people down south are more likely to help you out. But Pensacola, a smaller city than New Orleans, but they had a lot of people that were rude and don't help you. But bigger cities, people won't help you. But if you're homeless in smaller cities, or like more rural or suburban areas, they're more likely to help you out than bigger cities, whatever. But here in New Orleans, it's hard to get help. But Pensacola, people were a little bit more generous. And I was able to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner in Pensacola almost every day. But here in New Orleans, I can't even have lunch. Even in 2018 and 19, being homeless on the streets, I was able to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So me not being able to have lunch, is something kind of new since 2023. 2020, no more, it started in 2024, 2023 and 2024, when me being homeless enough that all I had throughout the day was one bag of chips. And the stalkers want us targets to be homeless, and they want to look down on us like losers and feel like that's all we worthy of is to eat out of garbage cans with food that had been bleached on, hoping that we would be poisoned. And they're still sending me spam calls and all that. So basically I had like 2 problems throughout all those train rides, pretty much. But you know what well, 2 like kind of bigger problems and 2 small ones. But um so I think leaving from Emeryville, leaving from San Francisco to Emeryville was like less than 30 minutes. And they forced farting me, excuse me. um and then we took the train in Emeryville. And then after that, I don't recall having problems riding from Emeryville to Glenwood Springs. That was the best route right there, because everybody, like all the train conductors and attendants and everybody, was upbeat and positive and happy and encouraging and supportive. And they were happy to do their job and the happiest. And they even cracked jokes and everything all the way to Glenwood Springs. That was the Coastal Starlight. So yeah, the Empire Builder was from yeah, I forgot. Excuse me, but the Coastal Starlight Wait, no, no, no. Wait, that was the California Zephyr. The Coastal Starlight was from Seattle to Emeryville, California. That was the Coastal Starlight. So the California Zephyr was the ones where everybody was so happy. And yeah, so after leaving Glenwood Springs, that same train route, train 6, California Zephyr, all the way up to Chicago, and then back down to New Orleans, and then boom, I came here. It was 3:20 or somewhere yesterday afternoon. We finally got here, and I ended up getting a hotel. Only had enough funds for 2 nights, and with the AdSense money, and I had to get me some. I got me normal standard dinner yesterday, and they had raised the prices on at the restaurant that I had gone to. They raised the prices $2 on, the dinner that I got. Like from normal, it would have been like $10 or $11.99. I'm like, wow, they raised it to $13.99. And I'm like, wow, everything getting more expensive. They're raising the prices on everything. So, I'm like, well, fine, I'll take the dinner anyway. And I had to go to fake Walmart, and they were acting weird in the parking lot last night. And yeah, I took a shower and sanitized all my belongings, including my clothes. I didn't get to take a shower, so I it doesn't, now I realize it seems like it doesn't do any good for me to do a video with the lights off, or with the Wi-Fi off, or using my phone data, or turning everything off. I have my location on my phone off. I have everything like off. But so the stalkers, they illegally find out, the online cult stalkers, they illegally find out my location, and be trying to illegally swat me. And what they're doing is criminal, and they know it. And so, but anyway, in San Francisco, um I was there for I was supposed to, I guess, be there for 4 or 5 days, but I ended up being there for 6 days, and with no hotel, on the streets all night. So I guess I did have, out of the 2 weeks or whatever. I mean, no, it was longer than 2 weeks, right? From January 30th to February 20th. So that's like 3 weeks. That was 3 weeks of the trip. I'll say almost 3.5 weeks of the trip. That the trip lasted almost, it was supposed to be 30 days, but it was like 3.5 weeks. But so it was February, the day of the bad numbers, that the stalkers started to give spam calls. And I think the reason how they illegally got my phone number was because when we ride the train, they give us these name tags or whatever that they say is mandatory that we have to put on our luggage, the name and phone number. And one time, I was at one of the stations, and one of the men was like, "Oh, just put your name and phone number. Don't worry about email." I'm like, "I'm not putting my phone number. I'm putting my email." But they strategically waited till that day to start harassing me, sending people to send spam, February, the day of the number that comes between 15 and 17, that number. That was the first day, and it was like the day before I left San Francisco. Excuse me, was when they started the spam calls. you know, and I had to keep blocking them. And like after the second or third call, I'm like, "Excuse me, you have the wrong number." And the guy tried to argue. He sounded Hispanic or foreign or whatever. He's like, "No, I do not have the wrong number." And I didn't understand what he was trying to bully me out of. But I'm like, "You have the wrong number. Do not call again." And I hung up. And so they're using fake text now numbers to and not leaving any messages. And I hope fake Damnesia or Sticky or none of them have my phone number. And I hate that I might have to be forced against my will to have to change my phone number again the next time I get a new phone. Excuse me. That's like, so now I'm dealing with the email harassment and phone number harassment too. Who the hell got time for that? So, in San Francisco, they perped me out of the homeless day center soup kitchen, and all I was able to get was a picture of the perp. And then I went to the library, and I felt uncomfortable with the fact that with the bathrooms they would have men and then quote unquote all gender. No, there's only two genders, male and female, and then they would have fake security guards monitoring so we women didn't get to have a gender bathroom for ourselves, but the men did. So any man or woman or boy or girl, anybody could go in the women's bathroom. Or there's no women's bathroom, a bathroom for everybody to go in, and a man going in the same bathroom as a woman at the same time. But then they have fake security guards monitoring the bathrooms, and that was in a lot of the places in San Francisco. I did not like that. I didn't feel comfortable with that. But the men can have their own bathroom. But and it's like in Seattle, no, I'm sorry, San Francisco. Yeah, that was in San Francisco with the thing with the gender situation, And San Francisco, not Seattle, San Francisco. But I didn't realize that homeless area was LGBT, whatever area or whatever, something like that, you know. So, um, yeah, that's why I went to one of the other libraries, and the second day I was at the library, nobody said anything to me, but they had perps that kept trying to invade my personal space, and but then the third day I was in Seattle, what third or fourth day or whatever. I keep saying Seattle. I was trying to say San Francisco. San Francisco, not Seattle. Um, I was at the other. Well, I went to that other library. It was that Saturday, and then that Sunday. No, it was a Friday and then that Saturday. Um, and that Sunday, I didn't even bother going to the library. I just stayed in the coffee shop all day, and they didn't tell me nothing about dozing off or going to sleep. Um, but I left San Francisco on Mardi Gras Day, and I had that issue with a fake security guard at that place didn't let me use the bathroom. But the week before, a few days before that, the female, she was more than glad to let me use the bathroom, and even encouraged me go ahead and use the bathroom. And then they had that young boy trying to be a thug and a fake security guard at the same time, and was being rude to me, But my first day in San Francisco, later that night, I rode the streetcar, and they had a guy that tried to get off the streetcar before I got on and was being rude to me when I was trying to ask for directions. And even the streetcar operator was kind of rude to me when I was trying to ask for directions and make sure I was going the right direction, going the right way, whatever, you know. And then they had the streetcar operator. He was a black man, but the guy that was the passenger getting off, he was rude to me. He was rude to me and trying to rush me when he could have gone out of the back door or another exit, but instead he chose to bully me. But the black guy that was the older man that was the streetcar operator, he was kind of rude to me too, you know. And then the stalkers illegally found out what restaurant I ate at. And they're like, "Oh, we hope you enjoyed your meal at the Melt or whatever," you know. And like I freaked out that they found out that, oh, now they finding out everywhere I'm eating at now, you know. So yeah, so it was the California Zephyr coming from San Francisco to Colorado, and they had all the upbeat, happy people, and they were saying it was a once in a lifetime thing, that everything's all scenic and pretty, but it was all snowed out or whatever. And they said you ain't never gonna see nothing like this again. You know, say it was a once in a lifetime really opportunity. Excuse me. So yeah so it was, I was on that trip for like 3 weeks, you know. It was supposed to have been a little bit longer because I originally was supposed to go to after Glenwood Springs, Colorado. I was supposed to go to Nashville for 2 or 3 nights, and that was supposed to be my last stop. But I was supposed to you know, I was supposed to have gone, like after Glenwood Springs. I think I was supposed to have gone to Nashville for a couple of nights, and then yesterday I got the check, and I was supposed to have left Nashville and come here, leave Nashville, Tennessee yesterday, and then when I got my check, and then come back, you know. But I don't know if I might try Nashville and Miami. I don't care about Memphis, but I might try Nashville and Miami next time, maybe, you know. If there's a next time. So, um, excuse me. So, like, out of the 3 weeks there, I don't know how many nights I was on a train overnight, you know. But um, New Orleans is the only station that I've seen that will have the train station overnight, open all night. But like even Los Angeles and Chicago, they shut down their Union Station to everybody like at a certain time at night, you know, and then in a certain time in the middle of the night, and then they open back up a few hours later. Even Los Angeles Union Station, yeah. But you know, the stalkers falsely made it like as if I just came up with a new idea to take a luxury vacation and scam people, when that's not even the case. Um, so yeah, but I'm not done like I thought I was. Okay, so for let me think. So like San Francisco, I was not allowed to really, like that Friday. I think I got there that Wednesday or that Thursday, probably that Thursday morning. And then that Friday, I felt bitterly upset about being yelled at and harassed by fake security guards telling me that I couldn't sleep at the park. And like, wait a minute, I didn't even fall asleep on purpose. I've been traveling, days of sleep deprived, and you know, so that Friday I got yelled at for blacking out without realizing, falling asleep and blacking out and didn't even know it. And they harassed and threatened me. And then the next day, that Saturday, they had a young Asian guy that looked like he was no more than 20 years old and was insensitive and rude and was an asshole at the library, and bullied me about sleeping at the library. And I'm like, well, if I'm up all night and can't sleep anywhere any day, and I got to get the hell out of San Francisco, you know. But the hotel that I went to where I had the free night, they gang stalked really heavy, you know. And that was one of the few hotels I was able to go to, excuse me, in the San Francisco metro area. And I couldn't go to the hostels because, well, some of the hostels that I called around, they said it was for young people only. And others, like they had a Freemason kind of, it was like Mason Street or something. And I didn't feel comfortable going to that hostel because it was around Freemason stuff, you know. But yeah, when I was in San Francisco, all I was able to have was like mainly burgers or sandwiches and chicken wings or whatever, you know. And everything was so expensive, painfully expensive, and especially in San Francisco. Like, I think in Chicago there might have been some places that was affordable that you can eat or whatever, but I was like, wow, for the next couple of days in San Francisco, I thought I would look like I was going to have to be forced to eat Illuminati fake fast food that I didn't want to become addicted again, you know. Like, if I saw fake McDonald's meals, $5, yeah, if y'all know what they had in the food, you wouldn't want to eat it either. You know, but I didn't want to be addicted, you know, addicted like a drug. So that's why I try to eat local restaurants. But I'm like, I gotta get the hell on out of San Francisco. Everything is too expensive. And then they had the bathroom problem, and also me not being allowed to sleep anywhere. But I don't know, I might try to if there's a life opportunity, I might visit San Francisco again. San Francisco and Detroit are two places I could not be homeless at. Or at least be in a place where I don't have anywhere to go overnight, you know. Excuse me, but when I was in Colorado for 2 days, thankfully they had people that helped me out with I was able to have the 2 hotel nights and didn't have to worry about being on the streets. But I didn't know that it was one of the 15 states where they had the freezing cold weather or whatever, and getting down to 8 degrees of cold out there, you know. But thankfully there was a lady that gave me some funds in person, and I ended up, that was the only like thing that I spent money on aside from food and survival. The only thing I spent money on, one of the hot springs, and I'm glad I was able to go swimming and experience the hot springs. And like, well, if that ain't the funnest thing to do the only fun thing to do on a doggone trip, I did that. Saved the best for last, you know. But I went to this Jamaican restaurant. They had some guy that I'm assuming, if he wasn't Hispanic, he was something else. But he was trying to control what I eat and control which bathroom I use. And and kept lying and saying that they didn't have this, they didn't have that. Well, if I try to order this or that, and he just made me feel uncomfortable, you know. Um, but the food was so. It was all right. Um, but yeah. But that night we were 12 hours late from the San Francisco. I mean, not San Francisco, leaving train from Colorado back to New Orleans. That train was all over the news about being stopped, and the fact that we're 12 hours late or whatever in order to get to us. Good thing we weren't stuck on a train for 12 hours. But they afterwards they made it up to us and spoiled us, and they let us get free dinner on the train. Um, like no, like that morning we had like a half price off a sandwich that was like turkey sandwich. It wasn't breakfast sandwich, and it sandwich wasn't bad. It was a multi-grain roll. Usually I thought I wouldn't like that, but I liked it. It was all right. And you got like a half a price off the sandwich, and then and then I yeah, half price off the sandwich and a free snack, and you had to pay for your drinks. And then for dinner everything was free, and like they fed our faces, let us have whatever we wanted. And that's how I ended up finding out about that butter cake. That thing is like a lifesaver. I'm glad I found out the company. Ooh, if there's any, I think I like that better than brownies. What the hell? So good. One of the best things I ever put in my doggone mouth. It was so good. Or one of the best things I've had in a very long time. Because me eating everyday food just average. Even here in New Orleans metro area, it's just food. It's hard to find some place that's like table banging or slap your mama kind of good. Even here in New Orleans, like just eat every day. I'm like, okay, I just ate a meal, fine, it's all right. But it's on rare occasions here in New Orleans. I mean, since being back in 2023, that I've had something that's mind blowing or amazing. And for me to eat out at restaurants just about every day because of my situation. I don't find things that taste like really out there, mind blowing and outstanding. Everything's just freaking food. Just doggone food, just here to survive. Um, but that Frank and Louis butter cake tastes better than the brownies. I don't care what nobody say, and I like the cinnamon streusel cake that they give on the train. I like that too. You know, yeah, I think it was 3 or 4 times I've eaten out of the cafe cart. I don't think it was the fifth time, but probably 3 or 4 times throughout that whole trip that I have probably eaten off the train. I had the dining car breakfast for once. I did not eat the dining car for lunch or the cafe car for lunch, and I did not eat um that $45 dinner. No, I couldn't afford it. So I might have gotten like just maybe a burger or a sandwich from the cafe car and the juice and chips, or maybe a candy or something, like a candy bar or something. Or like yesterday morning for breakfast, I had, well, I did, I knew I was getting my AdSense payment, so that's why I bought like 3 cinnamon streusel cakes, but I ate one of those and saved the other 2 for the next couple of days, for like a snack or dessert. And I had the like yesterday morning I had those bacon and egg bites cups, and I had a orange juice and one of the 3 cinnamon streusel cakes. and I had some water. I think, yeah, I didn't buy the water, but I had already had some free bottles of water. Like when we left Colorado, like they gave us like free snacks and water, and like Saturday evening for dinner, like they fed our faces for free, and then they put us up in the hotel, and we didn't get there until like 3 o'clock at the hotel after getting off the train, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I took a shower, and then it was like 4 o'clock when I finally went to bed, and then it was like 8 o'clock when I got up, and we had the free breakfast at the hotel, and then we went back to our rooms and loaded up to get back on the bus, and then ended up I was at the train station all day because it was so cold and everything. I was trying to stay warm. There was a little bit of perp activity that I dealt with, but um, but I was able to have breakfast for free, and then lunch. Excuse me. There was like a voucher. They gave a $15 voucher, so they had this place called Robinson's at the terminal in Chicago. I'm like, I didn't know about that place when the first day, but I found out about that place over the weekend this time, and I don't think I ever had perch fish before. So I had a perch fish sandwich and some I think some I don't remember if I had lemonade or something. And I had it was like a perch fish sandwich, and it was affordable, like $11 for some, like the sandwich and a little bit of coleslaw, and I think some fries to go along with it. But did I have fries? Something like that. I think you get a sandwich, fries, and coleslaw, whatever. And it, and then I got a dessert. It was a butter cake. It was moist, soft. It was like a caramel cake. It was so good. And then for dinner, I had S Barrow or whoever, the pizza place that be in a mall, SBARRO apostrophe S. So I had some lasagna for dinner. The last day. I mean, it was like, yeah, some kind of lasagna and a breadstick and some I had already had dessert, but I had some lemonade, and it was like mango lemonade, and I had a piece of sausage to go on the side. But I ate everything else, but I was now the lasagna, the cheeses on the lasagna was really good, but the sausage, I couldn't. I was only able to eat half of it because I had to use the bathroom, and it was about time for the train to come. And yeah, and on that last train from Chicago back to New Orleans, they had assigned seats and had another big person to come sit by me, but she wasn't a disaster like the other person, but they had her to sit by me, and then kind of find out later on I found out the next day it was like so many empty seats, like, they make my nose itch. But yeah, that was after coming back to Chicago, after leaving Colorado. Yeah, so I had yeah, the first night in Colorado, um yeah, it was snowing and cold, and I went to the library, and I didn't know that library was Masonic, you know, and I try to ask for resources, and the man just said, "Oh, there's this homeless day center called such and such down the road or whatever." And kind of found out they were about to close, so I couldn't go there. And I tried to look online, and I'm like, well, they didn't really have much homeless resources except for a day center. And then the online cult stalkers, they try to lie and say Candy's lying about they didn't have shelters, and they try to put down what they think was homeless resources. I'm like, I see y'all trying to be slick because y'all were hoping that I die out in the cold weather that night, and I was trying to sabotage me getting help. So I thankfully got help for both nights there, And as I said, a lady had gave me some funds in person, and I ended up going to the go to the pool thing, and it was odd. It wasn't snowing Thursday, but I ended up going only for a couple of hours. I wanted to be in there longer, but yeah, so I stayed somewhere for 2 nights and $80 no deposit, and and thankfully, I had help, the most generous help after during the last segment of the trip with Colorado. I ain't have nothing to worry about. And then Friday, I think I was just live streaming and talking to y'all, and I was afraid that I was gonna have to need another hotel night because I didn't know how long the train was gonna be delayed, and it was crazy cold out there, and no matter what, it was still so cold. And after dinner, one of the few places I know of to go, I went to this ice cream shop that let me stay until they closed, but I was able to get me some, ice cream and charge my phone and use the bathroom, and then they closed. And I didn't know that that they had a little small little train station that was open in Glenwood Springs. I didn't know, and that had the train lady, the lady that worked there at the station, and she gave like bottles of water and snacks or whatever. And that night, like, it was 11:45, and when the train pulled off at 11:46 or something like that, and we got up to our seats, and they had a lady across from me. She's like, that spot is for handicap. I said, well, I'm disabled, and like my legs have been swollen, and I've been having problems with my legs and knees and feet and stuff, um but I'm like, well, I'm disabled, you know but yeah, so one of the train attendants got mad and yelled at me because the thing that you're supposed to the little slip that they give you to, I guess, to locate where you're going or whatever. He yelled at me. He didn't even give me a chance to put it up. I was still trying to put my bags, because I have smaller bags, so I put them up the overhead above me. I didn't need to put them with the rest of the big luggage downstairs, so I put it like, in the overhead above me. And while I was in the middle of doing that, he was rude and had an attitude and yelled at me or whatever, But that was the only little, coming from Colorado to Chicago on that train 6, that California Zephyr. That was the only little problem I had on that part. And then, after Chicago, I was at the train station in Chicago for several hours. But I was going to take a bus ride or a train ride and go venture out some more in Chicago. But I was trying to save whatever little funds I could and trying to stay at the station and, just trying to stay at the station, stay out of trouble, and, stay safe and everything. But I'm glad that they have some of the train segment rides that were good and okay, and just a couple of small bad ones and a couple of ones that were damn near disaster. Yeah. So that's all I can think of to say, what happened, with the train trip and the trying to go to this and that city. So I originally thought that if I go to go to a city, and while I'm on a train, before, maybe looking up homeless resources or places like shelters food or whatever to survive, and calling up places for resources. And then when I get there, it's something different from what they said online, even if it was up to date, recent information. Even if it was something updated 2 days ago, and then I go there and there's something not what they said online, you know. So, um, so I thought that my original plan was, I thought I could, after buying the rail pass ticket, um, and I had to pay certain bills and expenses and fees, like being forced to have to pay for crimes I didn't commit and pay certain portions of fees of court fees and stuff. And I paid the phone bill and the court fees, and I didn't buy a monthly bus pass for New Orleans because I knew I was going to be out of town, you know. So I told everybody in advance, I thought that all I was going to need help with was food, you know. But my legs, when I got to be on the streets and stuff, my legs would swell. And even on the train, even when I was able to get some sleep on the train, my legs would still be swollen up on the train. Even after getting off the train, my legs would be swollen. And I'm wondering if, you know, the swelling legs was the reason why my shoes ended up being so tight. And the stalkers had their own false narrative, fake narratives about me, you know. And so I was able, like, they had someone that made false promises that they would give me some funds to go to Ross to get some shoes, and the person did not follow through with their promises. But another person did send me some funds for shoes, and wow, my legs were that swollen that I ended up having to get size 11 Skechers shoes. Size 11 shoes of Skechers. And I tried to get size 10 of, I think they were Reeboks, and they were $13, but I still could not even fit into those. And they were so tight and small because of my legs and everything being swollen from being homeless on the streets. And you know, the longer I'm out on the streets, that's the more my legs swell. You know, if I can't lay down and fall asleep, like, I guess lay flat and fall asleep, you know. But my legs were swollen the past several days, and then last night I was able to sleep good, and my legs are still swollen, but some of the swelling went down. The swelling went down some, you know. And I only have enough funds for to stay here for last night and tonight, and then tomorrow I'm scheduled to have to check out and be back normal homeless life in New Orleans on the streets, you know. Yeah. So when the stalkers can't make money off of perping me, then they holler and cry, she's scamming. But then when they get what they want, they're happy to be stalking and tormenting and harassing, you know. So I'm glad, you know, it was a different experience, you know, and that was one of the main reasons why I picked Glenwood Springs. Because I'm like, I got to go somewhere where they got hot springs. And I wanted to try it, you know. And Glenwood Springs, they said, was the only train route that was close to any hot springs. And I thought it was free. But come to find out, it wasn't, you know. So, yeah, excuse me. So I thought that I could go, like, after paying for the rail pass, I thought that I would be good with the homeless resources and could just get into a shelter and or a warming center, and you know, have have my meals and have something to eat and don't have to worry about paying for nothing. And I thought all I had to do was pay for the rail pass and then pay for the I thought I was gonna be on train rides longer, and I thought I would just pay for the rail pass and pay for some of those fake court fees and pay for the phone bill and pay for a few meals here and there, and then I thought that I would go and I thought the train rides would be longer. I thought I would be on the trains longer. I didn't realize I would be in the cities longer. Excuse me. So I apologize for that. But even if I was here in New Orleans, I would have still had to suffer through the same thing. If it got cold or got this or got that or raining or whatever, I would have had to ask for help anyway. So I thought that only thing I might have needed help was food, and I didn't realize there would be some unforeseen circumstances, like for me to have to cry out for help for a new pair of shoes because the other shoes were so tight and my legs were swollen, you know, and I didn't foresee that to happen with the shoes, and that was just a one time thing with um my my feet and legs were swelling up, and that's why, not that my shoes were getting tighter, but my legs and feet were swelling up more, and it was hard to walk, and my toes were squishing and everything. Um, you know, and everything wasn't as easy as it sounded or like I thought, and um, so I don't think I spent 7 nights on the train, but certain nights I went overnight on a train, or certain nights was not even overnight. But if I had like 4 hostel nights and 3 motel nights and 1 hotel night, well, I guess that's 8 days. But I definitely spent a lot of nights out on the streets too, out in the cold. I don't know how many. Um I had to calculate or think about that. How many nights I spent on the streets, the actual streets. At least minimum of 1 night in Chicago. It was 1 or 2 nights. I think it could have been 1 night that I remember, but it could have been 2 nights out on the streets. And I had the train ticket to go to Detroit, but yeah, the station closed down at a certain time, like 12. They say it's 1 o'clock, but they started kicking everybody out before 12:30. And when I tried to ride the train, they would not let you at Chicago O'Hare Airport if you didn't have like a train flight. So I couldn't go to try to stay safe at the airport. So riding the local CTA trains, it was I described earlier in the video how dangerous it was and everything. Um, so yeah, so it's after 3 o'clock right here, right now. Um, so like I was gonna go today, but I might go another day to use the one of the hotel chains. I had enough extra points where I redeemed it for a $25 gift card for somewhere to eat, and they didn't have the place in San Francisco and in Colorado. I mean, well, not in Glenwood Springs, so I couldn't use it. But this week I definitely used the gift card to from accumulating hotel points. But so then but yeah, I'll say that the Amtrak is way better than the Greyhound. I only had a couple of rude experiences from the employees, but most of the time they were all right. But way better than Greyhound. And if there's an opportunity to never take Greyhound again, I would like to never take Greyhound again. But if I wanted to go visit Pensacola again, I think I might. I don't. I mean, there was a point in time they were trying to do away with the Greyhound in Pensacola. You know, but I heard after Hurricane Katrina, there used to be a train to go from New Orleans and go through Pensacola and go to all the way to Jacksonville, Florida, and people are fighting tooth and nail to try to get that route back again. But they got the Mardi Gras service. I thought it was gonna go all the way to Jacksonville, Florida, but so far it goes up to Mobile, Alabama. It's just a few stops, but I don't know if they're expanding it. And I heard that the train is getting like, excuse me, better, you know, they getting better service now and more people that willing to ride and getting better turnout than what they expected with the Mardi Gras service. And then I've heard and they're just trying to improve and expand the Amtrak, and I hear about these Acela trains up in Northeast or whatever. So yeah, like I spent only my own money back in December with my YouTube AdSense payment. It was right before Christmas, or was it after Christmas? Somewhere around. No, it was right before Christmas, and it was. Hold on. They are hitting me with the weapons and force farting me so bad. And I know I don't really have gas, but that's them doing that, not natural farting, not natural having gas. But yeah, so back in December I used my own YouTube AdSense payment and nobody else's money. And the amount that it took for 2 nights in that hotel plus a round trip train ride all together was enough for if I would have had just 2 standard nights here in New Orleans metro area of hotel and didn't go anywhere. So I don't understand why the stalkers were upset about that. And so upset that they planted these young boys to try to come pull a gun out on me. Or they planted people to come and harass. And I was trying to get help for hotel that night of Christmas night, and I didn't get hotel help that night, and I had to suffer on the streets, and I almost got shot and killed in that area. And those boys didn't care that they were security cameras, fake security guards didn't care. What's the point of having security guards if they don't even do their job to try to protect people? But security guards in general will stalk and harass and try to bully and be on power trips all day. Just like police. They're not there to protect or serve or help. But they bully whenever they feel like it. But they have only a smaller amount of security guards that's cool and nice. But a lot of people say that no matter what city and state, be cautious of Allied Universal security guards because they're in cahoots with InfraGard gang stalking. But they have someone in the TI community that works for Allied Universal security guard, and they're like, how's she targeted by she showed evidence of herself being gang stalked, and nobody trying to kick her off the job or fire her or make her homeless or nothing. But it's like they have some people that could be in a TI community and have a job and keep a job, and others that they force us off the job and won't let us live a normal, productive life. If certain people that's targeted worse in one way, and then another person targeted worse in another way, So, that I don't know how or why certain people being targeted harder than others, But anyway, I would like to try I mean, I can't do it for the month of March. I got that fake March 11th court date, that the fake judge or whatever, and that they won't drop the case, and they know that they're wrong. And then after that, um they know that they're wrong, and after that, I don't know what's gonna happen. What's gonna be a result of that court date? Like, what if they? I mean, I don't know. So if the fake officer does not show up the next time, then what's gonna happen? And I don't know how the online stalkers were illegally able to see everything that went on in the courtroom in order to come and tell me about it. And they followed through with their threats to showing up to the court, and I couldn't see who was who because I'm like, wait, not many people were in the courtroom. So I don't know who would have been illegally fake monitoring or observing everything. And the stalkers, like the last court day, they lied and said Candy threw a temper tantrum in the courtroom and she got smart with the judge and she did this and did that and whatever. But all y'all committed fraud to orchestrate all this, and I'm well within my right to be upset. Now, I thought that I would take myself a trip, like originally to get away from Mardi Gras and all that, but I thought that if they dropped the court cases and let me go free, then I thought I could celebrate, by taking this train trip or whatever. But I figured that, oh no, they're causing me so much distress. I need a break. I need a getaway. And I thought that I didn't even get to write because of being days of sleep deprived and in survival mode, even on a trip. I didn't get to write as much or as often as I thought I was gonna get to write. But a lot of the time on the train, I spent listening to music and stuff. You know, I didn't get to watch many videos because a lot of the times on the train, there was areas that they didn't have service. But yesterday, I didn't realize that my hair was super soft and whatever, and I didn't know that when you in the hot springs that you have to protect your hair like the pool or whatever, and my hair ended up dry and stuff. But yesterday with my AdSense money, I bought me a comb and brush. I bought like a comb and two brushes, and I bought some kind of what do you call that? Some kind of hair mask, and I try to buy some leave-in conditioner. I didn't use the leave-in conditioner yet, but a little bit of my hair up in this area was dry and tangled and kind of broke off. It broke off a little bit, but I was able to comb through my hair this morning. It was the first time since last July when I got the haircut, because my hair was super damaged or whatever. And I don't know what I did wrong before I even went swimming. I don't know what I did or how my hair got so ruined last year that it was super tangled, matted. I couldn't comb no matter what I tried. But I was able to comb the knots and stuff out. It was the first time I got a comb and brush since last July. I wash my hair every time I take a shower, but I was just letting my hair grow and can't really properly take care of my hair in this, or my hygiene or health or anything really in this homeless situation. And that was one of the reasons how I ended up with an abscess and not have a missing tooth. Now, if it weren't for this targeting and all that, I wouldn't be in that predicament. So yeah, I was able to use a product to and they had they were out of a lot of stuff at fake Walmart last night, so I didn't even get to there was this hair bands that I wanted to buy that they didn't have it. Well, I got some little rubber bands. I thought I would I don't have the opportunity, but I don't have the opportunity to use the dinner gift card today. Excuse me. So, well, I'm in here telling. It's the only opportunity of in the meantime that before I forget everything, because I start to get things mixed up and forget this and forget that about the trip or whatever. So I I figure now while certain things are still fresh in my memory, I thought I could try to tell y'all in detail about what happened on the trip. So um I have enough funds to get laundry done today and have dinner today, and tomorrow breakfast will be taken care of. So I shouldn't need to ask for any help for any food tomorrow. But I don't know what the weather will be like, or if I would need to ask for help for a hotel or anything for tomorrow or whatever. Excuse me. And thank God this is a shorter month. So February 28th is a Saturday, right? Then March 1st, Sunday. March 1st is a Sunday. March 2nd is Monday. March 3rd, Tuesday. Let me think. Let me see something. If that's the case, today's Tuesday the 24th. All right, Tuesday 24th, Wednesday 25th, Thursday 26th, Friday 27th. So with me being supposedly paid a couple of days early, I don't know if I'll end up getting the Social Security check this coming Friday. This coming Friday the 27th. If not, I mean somewhere between, because see the 28th and March 1st is weekend, and then Monday March 2nd, but then Tuesday is March 3rd. But so if I'm supposed to get paid 2 business days before then maybe Friday I should have the Social Security check, and I don't know exactly how much I'm going to be getting or supposed to get. And I don't know how much I'm going to get or supposed to get. And I have certain, like, I was going to, even though I'm not supposed to have to, I shouldn't have to, because what the stalkers did was fraudulent, would get illegally swatting me and having me wrongfully arrested and thrown in jail. And so I have to be forced to pay fines and fees, jail and court fines and fees for things I didn't commit. So I have, like, I don't know, at least $100 and something to pay off, try to just pay everything off from the May 9th arrest from last year. That's like from the last court date from like back in December. I gotta pay everything off, because I noticed that me paying the minimum, paying $25 or paying $50 each month or whatever, they keep incurring more interest or more fees and stuff. So I'm gonna try to knock that out of the way. Nobody's helping me with that, so I'm using the Social Security check to pay that off. And then I have a few other financial obligations and things that I need. And I'm gonna get rid of this dress and get either another dress or two, or a shirt or two, with the Social Security check. And I'm gonna try to see if I could get something for my hair. Hold up. They keep randomly and occasionally and randomly force farting me without me having real gas. So tomorrow's me and my twin sister's half birthday. We'll be like 42 and a half years old. And I did not realize, they said yesterday was my 5th Twitter birthday. No, today was my 5th Twitter birthday on Twitter. And on my main YouTube account, this one, the main YouTube account, turned 10 years old. And I did not mean for my, like, one of the other channels I was going to use for my main channel, but this channel was started in a year of numbers that I hate, with one of the bad numbers, and it was all because of that fake Lisa Ruby perp, that abusive, narcissistic, fake Lisa Ruby perp, and also other stalkers caused for me to end up having the channel with, the year of numbers that I hate. But I didn't realize, or I wasn't aware, or I didn't even think that, well, whoa, yesterday, this YouTube account made its 10th birthday. But I had the email associated with this account since like October 2015. And even that date was on a date that I don't like. So that fake Lisa Ruby perp, she weaponized everything I said against me, and was abusive and controlling, and trying to manipulate and control my email addresses and stuff, and control my bathroom trips, control what I ate, control everything. And if you were a friend, even if you were old enough to be my parent, you wouldn't do that to me. But people had something to say about everywhere that I went, or they had a problem with every city that I went to. For me to go to this city, you got something to say about me going here. You got me something to say about me going there. You didn't want me here at home in New Orleans, but then when I go to a different city, you got something to cry out about that too. Like, I'm not allowed to exist anywhere. So, I'm not gonna go out today because I spent so much time doing this video. And keep me in your prayers, y'all. I don't know what's gonna happen after March 11th. If they're gonna do me in and throw me in jail. So February is almost over. And the fake rapper J Perp kept harassing me, talking about, February is swatting month. I got documentation of him saying that, the stalkers, when I got to Seattle, they tried to do my channel, and they tried to get my channel they started attacking my channel, trying to have my channel wrongfully taken down, because they don't want to be exposed. So, this evening, I need to push myself to do laundry. Push myself to do laundry. And I had 3 layers of the black sweatpants that I wear, but after I did the laundry in San Francisco metro area, the third outer layer of pants, the holes were so big that I had to throw the pants away. And then the second pair of pants, they're starting to have tears and holes in them. And March is coming up, and the stalkers they thought that because my coat is big and puffy, then they think it's expensive. But I spent $38 plus. I don't remember I don't think I had to pay shipping fees or whatever. But it's on sale for $38, and it's naturally $51 or something. But $38. But it was my jacket. I paid my money with that coat. I spent my money on that coat. But I don't have a storage unit, or I don't have a way to carry it around everywhere all summer. So, excuse me, I don't know if I should ditch that for the month of April or May. But I think I'm gonna need to keep this jacket for another month, for the month of March, since me having to be out on the streets and be homeless. I need the coat for longer. But once April or May comes, I'm gonna try to donate the coat. I will donate the coat, give it away. You know, I'm not gonna throw it away. I'm gonna donate, give it away. You know, um, excuse me. But so for the summer, I won't need it. But the stalkers, they try to falsely make like, oh, and I bet you she's gonna get rid of her coat or whatever, and this and that, whatever. Well, I don't have a way to carry it around all summer. I don't have a storage unit because I wish I could keep it and have. If I had a storage unit, I wish I could keep it. But all those narcissistic lectures for me to be told that a storage unit is a waste. Now I'm wasting my money. You know, and now I have less things that I ever since 2023 becoming back homeless again. Like my whole entire life I had to throw away because I couldn't have a storage unit anymore, and I had to get rid of almost everything I own. You know, and fighting for my life because neighbors in that apartment trying to murder me, gang stalking neighbors trying to murder me. And that's how I ended up back homeless again. And the online cult stalkers have their false narratives, but I know what happened. So, excuse me. I also thought about more writing ideas. I thought about more writing ideas coming from the trip, and I need to get my head together. You know, I need to. I mean, I don't even know if I should do laundry today or if I should just hold out until at least Friday or Saturday or over the weekend and with the laundry. I need to get more underclothes. I need to get me some more underclothes because like when I get a pack of underwear and socks and stuff, I can't fit all of them in my bags, so I end up having to like keep like 4 pairs of underwear, or end up, you know, keeping 4 pairs of underwear and 4 pairs of socks, and then having to give them away to other homeless people because I can't keep. I mean, you know, I can't keep everything, you know, in my bags, you know, because too much for my bags. But I thought about, I can't do it for the month of March, and I'm thinking about, you know, I gotta, I don't know what to expect for trying to get my taxes done this year. You know, I don't know what to expect, you know, but it seems like everything is held over my head with the jail and court thing. And after March 11th, I don't know if they're gonna throw me back in jail or if they will charge more fees on me because they got me wrongfully down for you know, criminal mischief, resisting arrest, and failure to identify. And they said that's supposed to be so much money, you know, from when me being illegally swatted and lied on. Excuse me. And people act like as if you're not allowed to speak against court judges, prosecutors, and stuff, like as if they're bigger than God. But they serve Satan. I have a right to speak against them. If they're doing Satan's work, yeah, I have a right to expose them. So, thanks for listening to me this nearly almost whole 3 hours. And I don't know if after coming back to New Orleans, if I might have to be forced to change my daily routine of how to do things or where to go. and everything. And the stalkers, they got me wrongfully banned from the cheaper hotels and motels in certain areas I cannot go to because of being so dangerous and everything. So though them getting me wrongfully kicked out of and banned from so many hotels and motels, I'm limited on where I could go or what I could do. And so the stalkers, they keep the false smear campaign going, and I can't believe how many people that profess to be God-fearing Christians will go along with satanic smear campaigns and even participate in the bullying and the stalking and the harassment and whatever. But I wish that they would have dropped the fake criminal charges, or I wish that they would come to a conclusion or something that this could be put behind me and I can be able to better focus and concentrate on more of my writings and hopefully earn a living. They're stopping me from my writings. They're stopping me from earning more on YouTube. And it's the two ways that I know of that I can do right now. And with them illegally swatting me and causing me fake criminal charges, and having me wrongfully banned from places, that is less job opportunities. I'm already hindered by being wrongfully blacklisted due to the targeting and already being disabled with certain limitations. So I would like to, and they keep me sleep deprived and in survival mode, so it's harder for me to, be a more effective writer. And I don't want other people to try to control how I write and what I write about. Because then you other people trying to control, they're going to have their hand out for money. And you offer to help me with my writing without me asking, knowing that I'm poor and homeless, and then try to have your hand out for money and being like, you owe me. So I would rather be totally 100% independent with my writings, unless me and another person equally collaborate on something. And if they don't be trying to dominate or monopolize or try to control everything, but then has someone in the TI community that reached out to me and offered to do a joint live stream or whatever, but I said yes and I agreed to it, but he never reached back out to me. I don't know if the stalkers got to him or whatever, but thank y'all so much for my supporters. And if I'm able to have a moment where I could, I wish I could travel more. Not even necessarily by train, even by plane or cruise or whatever. I would love to do that because I've always felt like I wanted to travel the world. But being homeless, trying to travel and living nomadic, it's kind of hard, depending on the city and state. But thanks to my supporters, even though it's not many of y'all, but I love y'all from the bottom of my heart. Y'all are like the family that I can't have in real life. Like I can't have blood family because they don't want to be any kind of family. But thanks so much, and I love y'all, and keep me in your prayers, and I'll be praying for y'all too. And I hope to try to work on as much writing as possible, or more writing, at least before March 11th. And I still got more, still working on the video, short stories, and I still trying to work on more novels as well. I love y'all. I'm gonna get off here.